right. Hello, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Jamie, and I am the Dedicated Wellbeing Services Program Manager with WebMD, here to present on your exercise journey, the next step forward, as a kickoff to the Invitational Challenge. I will be co-presenting with my colleague Maria Royal, a health promotion consultant with the Washington Wellness Team. This presentation will review a few barriers individuals may experience to getting physical activity, as well as strategies for overcoming them. We will also talk about the Invitational Team Steps Challenge that officially starts May 21st. And this is the second year of the challenge. And this challenge has you joining a team and competing against others to see who can track the most activity over 5 weeks. So it is a fun, easy challenge that can help you achieve better health. So you can sign up today if you haven't already. And please note that the last day to register is May 20th. And then starting tomorrow, if you registered for this webinar, you will receive a link to the recording in your email inbox. Otherwise, you will be able to find it in the resources section of our Smart Health page. You can Google Smart Health PEB or SEB and find the link there too. And this is where you will actually find other recordings from past webinars this year. All right, so we will look at exercise as a journey and then talk about what it takes. We will talk through various barriers like getting started, finding the time, and then finding what we enjoy. And then we will talk about what success can look like. And at the end, we will talk through that Invitational Team Steps Challenge and finish with some dynamic warm-up exercises that can prepare you for a workout or just a way to get up and stretch at your desk or wherever you are today. I want to also acknowledge that movement and exercise look different for everyone, and what our movement looks like now, today, may look very different to what it could look like in 1 month or 10 to 20 years from now. So this presentation will review a few of those barriers that we may experience getting physical activity, as well as strategies for overcoming them. Please know that you are welcome just as you are, wherever you are in your movement journey. Now note, this information does not provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. It should not be used as a substitute for healthcare from a licensed healthcare professional. Consult with your healthcare provider for individualized treatment or before beginning any new program. All right, and now I'm going to pass it over to Maria.
Perfect. Thank you, Jamie. So I want to start off today just by talking a bit about what does it take to be successful in an exercise journey, right? It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You don't succeed or fail, but the goal is consistent improvement. So what does it take to be consistent, to get regular physical activity and make yourself the healthiest version of yourself that you can be? One of the biggest barriers to getting regular physical activity or exercise is motivation. This is one of the hardest things to nail down, but when you do nail down your motivation for getting movement in, it makes every piece of this easier to integrate into your life, to make a habit and to want to do it. So there are many reasons one might choose to exercise or be physically active, but there are also just as many reasons why we aren't motivated to exercise. Chief among them is that it doesn't fit into our current lifestyle. We like to go big, implement big changes that we think will give us big results, but as soon as that doesn't fit into our life, we tend to bail on that. We also want to take into consideration certain health conditions or diseases that can make it harder or more painful to exercise. There's stress. Exercise is a great strategy for managing your stress, but when you're in a state of heightened stress, it can make it that much harder to want to exercise. Then we also have to talk about things like access to workout facilities. Maybe you don't live close by to a gym or a community center. Maybe working out at home isn't an option. Talking about safety, whether you have safe places to walk, run, or cycle, or if you have access to a gym, but maybe you don't feel safe surrounded by strangers who are also exercising, that can make it really difficult for you to participate fully. There's also two types of motivation. You may be familiar with this already, but intrinsic is when you engage in a behavior because you personally find it rewarding. There's no sort of external reward to it. You exercise because it makes you feel good, or it boosts your confidence, or there is no external reward to this. And then there's extrinsic, which is when you're engaging in a behavior to either earn a reward or avoid some type of punishment. This one is much more common in my experience. People are easily extrinsically motivated, but it's also something that we lose a lot more quickly. So nailing down that intrinsic motivation, why do you want to do this for yourself and no one else, is extremely important. The second piece to this is willpower, the ability to control your own actions, emotions, or urges. Willpower is something that people beat themselves up about. You might think that willpower or a lack of willpower is what's holding you back from achieving your goals. You might start to throw around words like lazy or undisciplined in your brain. But willpower is more complicated than that, right? It's also just one piece of the puzzle, right? It's not having willpower or a lack of willpower that dictates whether or not you succeed in your goals. It's just one piece of it, right? And you can work to increase and strengthen your willpower by practicing self-control and discipline on small tasks, and then also making sure that you're not overexerting your willpower and wearing yourself out. And then the third piece here, which is also extremely powerful, is building exercise and movement into your daily habits, making movement something that fits into the life that you live. So we just mentioned the example of using small tasks to build your willpower, and using small tasks can also help you build habits into your life, right? So instead of thinking of things that you can't do, I'm just going to cut out all of these things that I think make me lazy and undisciplined. You can't just remove things from your life. You have to replace it with something else. And coming back to that intrinsic motivation, you need to want to do that as well. So be consistent, be patient with yourself. It can take anywhere from 18 days to, in some cases, experts say it's more like 200 plus days to form a new habit. It depends on what that is, but you need to be patient with yourself, and you also need to be consistent. So see what you can do to build new habits into your life. Schedule out times on your calendars. You can do habit stacking where there's something you already do and now you're just adding something onto that. But really leaning into habits can make a big difference on your exercise journey as well. Next slide, please. And it's so important and intentional that we call exercise a journey because it is a journey. It's not a pass-fail thing. And coming back to that intrinsic motivation, your reason for exercising, your why, it says might change on this slide. It is going to change. It definitely will change throughout your lifetime. So your reason for wanting to exercise right now might be that you have a friend who signed up for a triathlon and you thought they were awesome for doing that and you want to do the same. In 5 years, your goal might be to lift your kids without pain or just to keep up with them without getting out of breath. That's real, right? In 10 years, you might be thinking about not just keeping up with your kids, but maintaining your fitness and kind of staying ahead of those age-related pains. In 15 years, are you going to be strong enough to carry your grandchildren, kneel down on the floor, stand up and reach? And then in 20 years, when you're advancing on in age, carrying your groceries, living independently. This is part of the reason that it's so important to regularly assess your motivation for exercise and being able to adjust your goals and your plans to fit the motivation that you have and your reasons why. And I will pass it back to Jamie to talk about how to get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Maria. All right, so now let's start walking through some potential barriers. So the first one I have listed out here is taking that first step and getting started. Sometimes I've heard this called the hardest step of them all, since it can be tough to figure out when, where, and just how to start. So first point here can be a very important one. Be sure to consult with your doctor. It's a good idea to get a physical before starting any new exercise routine, so get that appointment on the calendar. Your physician may also have recommendations on just what types of exercises to consider or maybe avoid. And then know your abilities. So are you a beginner? Do you have limitations? Are you advanced? No matter who you are, ensure that you're warming up, you're cooling down, and you're staying hydrated before, after, and during your routine. And then if you're planning on starting exercise at home, determine where you will work out. So is there a space in your living room? Do you need access to a television or computer monitor? Do you need a private space? Consider activities or movement that you used to do that you really enjoyed. Maybe you were on swim team as a kid, like me, or maybe you really enjoyed team sports. So think about ways that you can incorporate that movement and joy back into your lifestyle. Be sure to set realistic goals. So what do you want to achieve and why? Start with a small, achievable goal so that you will be successful. And be sure to make that goal really specific. So for example, I will do 10 minutes of Pilates Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 10 a.m. And then as far as balance, try to get a variety of exercises in. So you can start with aerobic activity like dancing or water aerobics on a couple of days each week. And then add a day with stretching. Add 2 days with strength training. Again, it's about knowing your abilities. Start small and then add time every couple of weeks. And then just make it a habit by setting a schedule and sticking to it. So we've got equipment and resources and ideas here. So the options on the left typically cost somewhere between $0 to $25. Those being things like a jump rope or a towel at home to use as a mat. You could also use your own body weight. Options in the middle typically cost between $25 to $75, so think foam roller or maybe a medicine ball. And then the options on the right typically cost between $75 to $125, so this could be things like a bench or adjustable dumbbells. You can choose any, choose some of these options within each budget range based on your particular goals. Okay, next up is potential barrier number 2, time. So we all have the same amount of time in our days, but how we spend it is different. So if you don't have time to exercise, take a look at how you're spending your time during the day. So are there parts of your day that could be better spent getting in some movement? Do you find yourself going down a rabbit hole on social media and before you know it, 30 minutes have passed? Or do you watch multiple episodes of TV? All things I have done. So if you do these things, it's not about feeling shame for having done them, but rather if time is a barrier for you to be physically active, are you willing to give that up or even just reduce the amount of time you spend doing those activities so that you can fit in physical activity? It's about progress over perfection. So if you can't dedicate solid chunks of time to your workout, that doesn't mean you can't exercise. So research shows that 2 15-minute sessions or 3 10-minute sessions are just as effective as 1 30-minute session. So you could do 15 minutes before and after work, 10 minutes before, after work, and at lunch, or 10 minutes while you're watching TV, 10 minutes while you wait for something to cook in the oven. It's just about finding those opportunities in a schedule that works best for you. And in those shorter amounts of time, you may increase your heart rate and your breath rate, strengthen your muscles, introduce yourself to a new way of getting exercise. So perhaps you're used to walking, but you try a quick body weight exercise and you feel a little bit stronger after a few days. Help establish or keep a habit or routine. So if you're setting those appointments with yourself, like that 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes after work, it may help you to develop that habit of exercising. You may find yourself with more time at some point in your life, and then you already have that appointment scheduled, but maybe you make it a little bit longer. You feel like you can keep going. So maybe you originally planned to go for 10 minutes, but once you get into it, you feel better and you have more motivation to continue. Some of those benefits you may feel later: stress reduction, reducing your risk of chronic disease, boosting your energy levels, lowering your blood pressure, strengthening your immunity, improving your sleep, raising your HDL or that healthy cholesterol. So as Maria previously mentioned, there's that intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, but research shows it's really that intrinsic motivation that helps create that long-lasting change that we're looking for. So there are many reasons why someone might choose to move their body in an intentional way. So preparing for healthy aging and building bone density, moving more to have less pain, mental health benefits, just those activities of daily living, ADLs, social aspects, self-empowerment, so completing something challenging and reminding yourself that you can do hard things. And then to set an example for your family, kids, students, maybe colleagues. So take a moment to really think about what motivates you. Maybe write it down right now. Put it somewhere front and center for you to see and reflect on a daily basis, or maybe even just this week. All right, on to finding what you enjoy. So we need different types of activity to keep our bodies healthy. The 3 types we'll focus on are aerobic, muscle strengthening, and flexibility. Aerobic, this includes activities that increase your heart rate and use your body's large muscle groups repetitively. It gives your heart and lungs a workout and increases your endurance. Some aerobic activities include that walking or running, jumping rope, biking. If you like dancing in the kitchen while making dinner, with a YouTube video, or even like a dancing class. Then we've got muscle strengthening. So these are activities that make your muscles work more than they usually do. So lifting weights, using resistance bands, yoga, Pilates. If you're new to lifting weight or you don't have weights, you can use cans or water bottles. And then body weight exercises like planks, push-ups, squats, all are categorized in that muscle strengthening area. And then flexibility. These activities enhance the ability of a joint to move through its full range of motion. So stretching can improve your flexibility, which helps with everyday tasks, such as looking over your shoulder to back up your car, looking side to side so that you can look both ways before crossing a street, or just being able to bend forward to put on your socks and shoes. And many of these activities do dip into several of these categories. So yoga, for example, touches into both strength and flexibility. Okay, so if you're up for it, go ahead and take a screenshot of this list and then check off the activities you enjoy. Feel free to also add to the list. And then if you're feeling really inspired, I encourage you to post it in one of the community groups on Smart Health as a way to boost that motivation for yourself and maybe encourage others to think about what activities they enjoy. Okay, on to finding success. Now, There are lots of ways we can record success, but making sure you keep a record can be really important to properly recognize changes in your journey. So first, you can think about picking a tool or a way to measure your success and write down your initial results with the start date. Then track your progress to build accountability and awareness. Maybe tell your accountability buddy. Maybe you set up calendar reminders. Maybe you start journaling your progress. And then track your check-ins and your progress, and then look back through your journey. Remember that these journeys take time and there will be good weeks and not so good weeks. So it's about staying the course and noticing those trends over the months and the years. All right, and I've got 3 case scenarios here we will walk through just briefly, starting with June. So June is a busy new mom. She wants to start exercising regularly, but can't find 60 minutes of uninterrupted time. So how could June get past this barrier? One option might be to split up exercises into the 10 or 15-minute chunks, 2 to 3 times per day while the baby is napping, or maybe ask her partner to watch the baby so she could do an at-home workout. Then we've got Mike here. Mike works a sedentary job and has gained 30 pounds in the last 5 years. His doctor recommended he start exercising. He's got this friend who's an avid CrossFitter, invites him to join. Mike has tried a few of the classes and has been very sore afterwards and is just dreading going to these classes each week. So what could he do? Well, he will likely not keep going to CrossFit if he's not liking it and is not feeling good after it. So he could try a few different activities to find a type of exercise that he actually enjoys and feels good doing. And then the last one here, Deborah. She's on a tight budget, can't afford the gym, but knows that as she ages, it is really important to keep her bones strong. She recently earned $50 through her company wellness program. So what might work best for Deborah here? Well, maybe Deborah could build an at-home gym, get a pair of dumbbells, mat, yoga ball, resistance bands, and maybe could find something on Facebook Marketplace. And then if Deborah's really not wanting to spend money, maybe Deborah could build an at-home gym using a towel instead of a mat, or filling up jugs with water, cans, wine bottles, or maybe just filling a backpack with books for her weights. So main takeaways here today, I want you to leave understanding that your motivation for exercise may change, and that's perfectly normal. Take that time to identify and reevaluate what is motivating you. Choose to move in ways you enjoy. Find what's most fulfilling for you while you are achieving that aerobic, muscle strengthening, balance and flexibility. And then track that progress. So this will help you identify what's working, and you can identify any barriers that come up. Track on paper, track on the apps, with a watch, whatever works best for you and your routine. All right, great. So now let's chat briefly through the Invitational Teen Steps Challenge that is back again this year to help you stay active, and then we will move into that warm-up. So the Invitational, there we go. It's a team-based competition designed to help everyone improve their physical fitness, specifically the number of steps or activity minutes converted to steps that are taken daily while also having fun. So you will join a 5-person team. You will track steps between May 21st and June 24th. And then your team will compete against a new team each week. And that team with the most steps each week wins. So you can walk, dance, bike, swim, stay active however you like, and then use that steps conversion worksheet in Smart Health to convert your activity minutes into steps. You can earn 50 Smart Health points per week by participating 5 out of 7 days each week. So the Invitational consists of a warm-up round and then 5 competition rounds. So the warm-up round is now until the 20th. So this week when you register for the Invitational, just start practicing recording your steps and learn about your existing walking habits in preparation. Then the competition round starts on the 21st. And that's when the teams are placed head-to-head against other teams with similar step levels to encourage a motivating environment. All right, so challenge starts May 21st, ends June 24th. To participate, you must register by May 20th. So you can do this on your Smart Health dashboard on your desktop or on the Wellness at Your Side app. And then you can earn up to 250 points by completing the challenge. And just a note here, employees are encouraged to participate in this challenge during work breaks or outside of work hours. Okay, now let's move. So dynamic stretches are active movements that cause your muscles to stretch, but the stretch is not held. Instead, it is a fluid movement, and the warm-up exercise can stimulate the muscles and joints in ways that can transfer to better mechanics when we move. All right, so the first stretch here is, we're probably not going to hold it for the whole time, but to just briefly walk you through each of these. If you'd like, while standing tall, go ahead and bring one heel off the floor toward your glutes for the butt kick. Now this exercise can be done quickly with the idea of kicking your glutes or by holding on to something and alternating those kicks. So you would perform this exercise for 20 to 30 seconds, maybe 2 to 3 times. And if you'd like to modify this, you can go ahead and place your hand on the side of the wall or hold on to something stationary while alternating heel to glute on both the right and the left legs. Okay, so give that one a try. All right, and then we've got standing hip swings. So for this one, you will stand upright again and hold onto a wall for support if you'd like, as you can see in this picture here. Then, with good posture, engaging your core, go ahead and swing one leg forward and backward as far as comfortable or whatever space you're in right now. You can try that to 10 to 15 times on your left side or just a few times today. And then go ahead, switch to the right side and do the same. And for this full for this full warm-up, you could perform 2 to 3 sets of these. Again, here a modification. Instead of swinging your leg front to back in that fluid motion, you could slowly lift your right leg to the front and bring it back to your standing leg. Then slowly lift that same leg to the back and bring it to your standing leg, while again holding on to something stationary there. Then we've got some side shuffles. So for this one, stand with your feet hip distance apart. And then while hinging slightly at the hips, keep your chest lifted. Then move right using small, quick shuffle steps for 5 to 10 steps. And then go ahead and repeat that movement to the left side. Go ahead and try that again. Both directions. And the modification for this one, so while standing upright and holding on to something stationary, what you would do here is just tap your right leg out to the side and then bring it back to center. Tap your left leg out to the side and then bring it back to the center. All right. Then the knees to the chest. So for this one, you would go ahead, lift one knee up at a time and toward your chest and hug the leg, as you can see in that picture there. Hold for 3 to 5 seconds. Feels pretty good. And then you would release. And then lower that leg while maintaining good posture and repeat on the other side. So lifting that other knee up toward your chest, hugging it in, and then releasing. 10 to 15 hugs on each leg. And the modification here, you could lie on the ground actually, and then bring your knees up to your chest. Great. Oops, sorry. Okay, walkouts, almost there. So for this one, while standing with your feet together, go ahead, bend down, and place your hands on the ground. Slowly walk out into a push-up position. Pause. And then walk your hands back to your feet and stand up. Maybe try that one more time. Walking out, walking back in. And to modify this one, in that starting position, just slightly bend your knees so you can reach the ground. And then stand up, returning to that position with good posture. Maybe one more time. Great job. Okay, and with that, thank you all for joining us today. Be well.